Okay, Facebook friends, this video is going to be of Tommy VW's man cave as he's getting ready to watch the Giants put a whooping on the Packers this afternoon. And my challenge, especially for New York fans, is to compare man caves. Be a little trivia along the way. This will be primarily for Phil Ardito to answer the trivia and anybody else that wants to. Should be noted that the only one who has inside information on the man cave is Larry Kelly and his wife Dawn. They visited us a couple of years ago. We had a great weekend. Okay, so we pan over here. The first thing that you'll see, and this was the season before the Giants won the Super Bowl. I went to a VIP breakfast down in the Meadowlands, and it was honoring three backs: Brandon Jacobs, Frank Gifford, and believe it or not, Rodney Hampton. And this was the jersey that my son Justin was wearing. And as you can see up there, I'll zoom in, we got the autographs of those three guys. More about that later on the trivia contest, but it was a pretty good morning. Going over to the bar, standard garden variety bar, but we'll zoom in on what I drink at every season when the Yankees come out. Commemorative glass. And then we'll come on over to, we'll start the trivia contest. And you'll see first, I don't know how big or how bad the lighting is. What you're seeing there is a picture of my two favorite Yankee players. Well, two of my top three favorite Yankee players. Craig Nettles on the left and of course Thurman Munson. I think Nettles was the most undervalued Yankee in the history of the game. Clutch hitter, didn't bat for average, .250 average, but 22-year career, 390 dingers, 7-time All-Star, I believe 5-time Gold Glover. Munson, of course, his career cut short, tragically short by you-know-what, airplane accident. Only had 11 years in the bigs, all right, and it was a great year. More of a leader, as good a leader as he was a baseball player. Below that, although not necessarily tied to the Yankees, is a framed print and autographed in gold Sharpie of Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart when they came back, they being USC, to beat Notre Dame. I bought that as a graduation gift and an investment for my son, figuring that they were can't misses in the NFL. Boy, what a lousy investment that was. Bust so far, but more to come for Reggie. Come on over here to the beer dispenser that I usually change between the Yankees and the G-Men. Since the G-Men are playing today, we're honoring the Giants with the insert. And above that, you'll see a shrine to both the Yankees and the Giants. You can see some figures there. You got Derek Jeter, Mo, and the Mick. And below that is the starting lineup for the Super Bowl team, and I'll rub their heads before the game today. Okay, here's where the trivia comes in. Lorraine Clausen, if you watch this is with apologies to you. Here's a picture autographed. Can you name who they are? Yeah, that's right. That's Roy White on the left, and on the right is Chris Chambliss, and in the middle, you guessed it, Bucky Dent. And what year did this happen? That's right, 1978. This was the game-winning 3-run homer that Bucky hit in the 7th inning to knock the Bo Sox off the pennant. This was a playoff game. Hey, the Yankees were 14.5 games down in July. And the final weekend of the season, they had a 4-game series against the Bo Sox. Who swept it? Hey, that's right. And the combined score of those 4 games was 42-9. Bucky Dent only hit 40 homers in his career. He picked a time to peak right there. Below that, Thurman bobblehead. I just love Thurman. Great player. And you come on over here and you've got Bobby Richardson, and that's he was 58, 61, and 62 World Series champ. He played on them. He was the MVP in 1960. Below that, a lithograph of the Mick, my favorite Yankee of all time. That's one of my favorite pieces of memorabilia that we have. Panning over, there's the 1970 great infield. Nettles at third, Bucky Dent at short, Willie Randolph at second, and of course Chris Chambliss at first. Below that, pan out, are the big ones, the Bambino, Joe D, Mickey, and Lou Gehrig. Interesting story on this one. Here's a picture in 1962. This was game 1 against the Giants, and of course that's Roger Maris, Mickey Mantle, and Clete Boyer. I got this picture, and it seems to be a bit of a light. You can't see Clete through the light, but I bought this from Clete Boyer. I was coaching baseball out in Iowa in the early 90s, and he came to a coaching clinic, and he dumped out a duffel bag of memorabilia, and I purchased this off him. Pretty neat guy. Another iconic one, there we got over there on the left, the Bambino, Sweet Lou. In the middle, Mickey and Roger, the M&M boys, and over to the right, of course, A-Rod and Jeter. This next one I bought during that VIP weekend for the Giants when I was showing you that Jacobs jersey. And this is a completely different signed picture of Don Larson's 1956 perfect game against the Brooklyn Dodgers. Everyone knows the iconic picture of when he's jumping, or when Yogi is jumping up and hugging him. This one is taken at the top of the first inning by a cameraman. Actually, look at that, when they used to let him on the field back then. And it's the top of the first inning, and you can see in the background the iconic scoreboard, and pretty neat, pretty different type of picture. Don't ask me why I have this one, but I have it nonetheless. It's a picture of Joe P. Pepitone. He's probably making license plates someplace in Paramus right now, but first baseman during the down years. He came in at the end of their glory years in the 60s and primarily played for a bunch of raggy Yankee teams. Below that, again, my hero Thurman Munson, and to the left of him, Sparky Lyle, one of the greatest clutch closers in the history of the game. Next is again my man, the Mick, and there's a 4-picture suite there of him. Interesting with this picture, when we had the earthquake this year, believe it or not, this fell off the wall and the glass broke off it. So that was the hit that we got from the earthquake. Next to that, a picture that I had signed about 2 years ago, that I got 2 years ago, obviously it wasn't signed 2 years ago, of Yogi and the Mick, black and white, pretty good picture. And below that is a picture of the early Yankees infield. You got Moose Scouron at first, Bobby Richardson second, Tony Kubek at short, and of course Clete Boyer at third. This was given me by Danny DeGrossa, about a year ago. And we'll start getting into some football stuff, and somewhat dark, but I'll see if I can pan in. This picture here was during breakfast at the Meadowlands, and that's Brandon Jacobs, yours truly, my son Justin, sitting with my dad, and to the right of Jacobs is my other son Matt. And then we panned over to another one, and it's again Matt, Justin, my dad, and they're flanking Frank Gifford. It was said that Gifford wasn't going to sign any autographs that day, but he actually sat down at our table to eat breakfast. And given that him and my dad are contemporaries age-wise, they hit it off really big. They talked about all the Giants lore in the past, had a great time. Come on over here, nothing of note. This is what Carol Ann's going to give Phil for you and me next year. This is one of my good friends in Pennsylvania, Jack Popolarski, and his wife, for his 40th birthday, sent him to the Philadelphia Flyers fantasy camp. He went up to Montreal and he trained, played hockey for, I believe it was a week, with all the great Flyers and Ranger players from the 70s. It was probably one of the better weeks of his life. It was a good time. And then we'll pan over, and this is primarily the shrine for the G-Men, and a lot of paraphernalia up there of celebrating their Super Bowl win in 07 or 08, whenever it was. And, there's the catch by Plex to win the game. Of course, the catch. That was one of the greatest plays in Super Bowl history, and more of that paraphernalia. A lot of this was gotten, we took a bonding trip, my dad, both my boys and myself, up to Albany to watch the Giants play. preseason in practice a couple, 2-3 years ago. That ball to the left probably has about 20 of the Giant SIGs on it. And then scanning over again, here is a football cards of every player for that Super Bowl win over the Patriots. That was a good day in the Van Wine household. And then scanning over, here is a picture of all the Super Bowl tickets from first until last. I don't know what I'm going to do now that I can't update it. But anyway, nice piece of memorabilia there. So that, my Facebook friends, is the Van Wine Man Cave. Hopefully today we get to celebrate the Packers' loss to the G-Men, and there'll be more to come. Thank you.